Well, here is my Freelander TD4. It's a Freelander 2, 58 plate. It was running on 3 cylinders, 3.5 cylinders after I botched the cylinder head together after I found a nut in there that had been pulverised. So new piston, botched cylinder head, been running for nearly a year, but it would start up on 3 cylinders, which I believe was the original fault that meant that somebody else had pulled it to pieces before I bought it, and that was before the whole nut incident into the engine. So I believe it had a sticking exhaust valve. I'm not sure which cylinder, clearly wasn't cylinder number 2, but I suspect it was number 3. Now when you fired it up from cold, it would hunt on 3 cylinders, and if you went to the exhaust tailpipe you could hear it hissing every cylinder, every firing stroke. So I think that it has a leaking exhaust valve on number 3, which kind of sealed itself up as the engine was running. Once it was run for a couple of minutes, it would run on 4 cylinders, although it did still have a misfire above 2,500 RPM. The misfire, I believe, was attributed to the fact that the cylinder head that I botched as a repair on was leaking into the inlet. This was evident by a lot of soot on the lower ports. It's got 8 ports, 2 per cylinder, and on the lower port it was all sooty and carbon. So I found a low mileage 8,000 mile cylinder head from, I believe it's an Evoque from a 2015. I fitted it and fired it up, fired straight up on all 4 cylinders, and it runs like a clock, and this is how it's running now. I haven't done any diagnostics on it, I haven't done anything in the way of calibrating the idle or air path stuff with diagnostics. I'm going to let it run for a little while first, see how it runs, and then I'll do a full air path diagnostics so that it can recalibrate all of its settings. But straight away it fired up, all 4 cylinders, and she's running like a clock, so I'm happy. So give it a couple of weeks and I'll run a diagnostic on it, and I'll do an air path calibration, and I know the injectors are all correctly coded for this engine, so once the air path is done it should run beautifully. I'll recalibrate the idle speed. It sounds a little bit low to me at the minute, but that could well sort itself out. I know that the adaptives will mess around with a bit of it, but you can't beat a proper calibration on the correct diagnostic equipment. But for now it's running and I'm happy.